Welcome in. You already know what time it is. Alex Cloninger in the building. Let's dive into the Nexus. Let's dive into the Nexus. Step into the zone. Carolina stories got a life of their home. From the pages to the labs, yeah, we break it all down. If you love those books, you're at the right sound. Let's dive into the Nexus. Yeah, the mics stay reckless. Hometown justice, legends in the message. Casey Yokin's on the trail, solving cases non-stop. Turn it up loud, yeah, the Nexus don't stop. We talk plot twists, characters, theories. Author Q&A, getting answers you've been hearing. Special guests slide through, pull up a seat. Chaotic conversations with the Carolina heat. From small town drama to the mysteries deep. Every chapter got secrets we're ready to keep. Laughs laid back with the energy wild. If you read Cloninger, you already family now. Let's dive into the Nexus, step into the zone. Carolina stories got a life of their own. From the pages to the laughs, yeah, we break it all down. If you love those books, you're at the right sound. Let's dive into the Nexus, come and connect us. Alex Cloninger live, yeah, you rockin' with the Nexus. Hit play, stay tuned. Every episode fresh. Welcome to the Carolina Nexus. Brought to you straight from Carolina soil. Press play and let's dive in.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. I'm the host of Carolina Nexus, Alex Cloninger. We're here for the live reading tonight. I know I missed last week. Last week was hectic. So before I dive into the live reading, we're going to recap. I got some announcements to make, so let's get right on with those announcements. First off, congratulations to Jesse Diamond and Dump Truck. They got married Saturday night. I wish I could have been there. I had some stuff going on that I couldn't be there, but I was there in spirit. Mad love, mad respect. Congratulations to you guys. I wish you nothing but the best. Second, I don't have any wrestling shows to show you guys for tonight, but I'll have some next week. I want to thank TCW for all the support. I want to thank Scott Larson and Hashtag Truth for all the support. Those are our primary sponsors at this point in time. And ladies and gentlemen, I want you to tune in, visit those shows, show them the support they show me, because without the support, we wouldn't exist. I want to give a shout out right now to my wife Amber, my sons Riley and Tyson, and my daughter Paisley, if you are watching. I don't know if Paisley's watching or not, but all right, so that's the last announcement I have. You see this background behind me? This will be the last time, this week will be the last time you see me broadcasting from this location. I will have a new location by the next shows next week. That does not mean I won't be here tomorrow night for the character discussion, but I will, after this week, I will no longer be in this location. It's time for us to upgrade, and that's what we're going to do here at the Carolina Nexus. We're going to upgrade and keep going. That's it for announcements. Recap. We have so far read the first 6 chapters of Tygapagon Enter the Tiger, and in those 6 chapters, we've covered a lot. We were introduced to Alex Ruler, Ken Manson, and Taekwondo as middle schoolers. They're in their last year of middle school, 8th grade going into the 9th grade. It's their last year of middle school, guys, and a lot of things has happened. Alex Ruler is relentlessly bullied by Douglas Kennedy and the Boa Fang Dojo. Alex tries to join the Boa Fang Dojo and is laughed out of the dojo by Usanagi and Douglas Kennedy. He punches a wall. His dad and he have a very specific heart-to-heart moment. He saves Allison from a stampede. They meet Ken and Alex meet Ty. Ty saves them from getting their heads rocked inside the locker room. And a friendship begins. Ty invites them to Kwondo's School of Martial Arts on Main Street with the eagle above the door. And that is where we left off, with Allison and Alex walking to Kwondos, and we're about to dive right in. Before we begin, does anybody have any questions about the recap? If you don't have questions, that's fine. We're going to dive right into it and start the live reading right now. Also, if I'm going too fast, if I'm reading too fast, do not be afraid to tell me. My phone is right here. I can see my messenger if I'm reading too fast. I know my wife's not afraid to message me and tell me, hey, slow down, you're reading too fast. So we're going to dive right into this. Taigapagon Chapter 7. Alex stood before the wooden doors of Kwondo's School of Martial Arts, his heart pounding against his ribs. The eagle above cast a shadow across his face, and Allison's good luck kiss still tingled on his cheek. Taking a deep breath, he pushed the door open. The interior was nothing like the sterile, modern environment of Boafang. Dark wooden floors, worn smooth by years of training, stretched before him. The walls held scrolls with Japanese characters and images of eagles in flight. The air carried the subtle scent of incense, sandalwood maybe, mixing with the earthier smell of well-used training mats. "Hello," Alex called out, his voice seeming smaller than he had intended. "You showed up," Ty's voice echoed through the room. He stood at the center of a training mat, dressed in his signature red gi. His dark hair pulled into a tight ponytail. The red belt around his waist seemed to glow in the afternoon light filtering through the high windows. "Of course," Alex replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "You think I'm going to pass up the chance to be strong?" "My grandfather doesn't teach martial arts in order to inflict pain on anyone," Ty warned. "You have been warned." Alex hurriedly kicked off his shoes, nearly tripping in his excitement to reach the training mat. Ty cinched his belt tighter around his waist and walked slowly around Alex, his steps measured and deliberate. "This is a dojo, a school," Ty began, his voice carrying a gravity that seemed beyond his years. "Inside these walls, it does not matter which side of town you are from, which group of kids you hang out with at school, or how much money your parents have. Inside these walls, the only thing that matters is your determination and grit. If you truly wish to take the challenge, my grandfather, Yoshimoto Kwando, will speak with you." "Yoshimoto? As in Master Yoshimoto from Dragon Buster X?" Alex blurted out, immediately regretting the words as they left his mouth. "Tai-san, who have we here?" Sorry, my allergies are killing me, guys." The voice carried both wisdom and mischief. Sensei Yoshimoto Kwando emerged from the shadows of the dojo, moving with a grace that belied his years. His dark blue gi, held together by multiple black belts, had seen countless battles, yet was immaculately maintained. Despite his imposing presence, there was an almost playful glint in his eyes as he stroked his short beard. "Sensei," Tai said, bowing respectfully, "this is a classmate of mine. He wishes to learn from you." "Ah," Sensei Kwando's eyes twinkled with amusement. "Another young one seeking the path of the warrior. Tell me, Alexander-san, do you like to sweep?" Alex blinked, caught off guard. "Sweep? Height. Simple task. Very important. Clean floor, clean mind." He gestured at some of the dirt on the training mat. "But perhaps you think such tasks beneath you." "No, Sensei. I mean, I'll sweep anything you want." "Anything?" Sensei's expression turned serious. "Even pride? Even fear?" He moved with a surprising speed, circling Alex. "How does this classmate know of us, Tyson?" I had to help him, sir. He was being bullied by 3 older students, and if I hadn't stepped in, he could very well have been hospitalized," Ty explained hurriedly. "Ah, the way of the bully. Much anger. Much fear." Sensei Kwando stepped in front of Alex. "Show me sand the floor." What? "You won't learn karate?" "Yes. First learn sweep. First learn sand. Everything start with foundation." His serious expression cracked into a slight smile. "But today we test a different foundation, the foundation of spirit." The test that followed was brutal, yet there was a purpose in every strike the students landed. Each hit seemed carefully calculated, not to break but to reveal. "Pain does not exist in this dojo, does it?" Sensei called out as Alex took another hit. "No, Sensei," the other students responded in unison. "Fear does not exist in this dojo, does it?" "No, Sensei." Through his growing bruises, Alex realized this wasn't just about endurance. Each strike was a question. Would he stay true to his path? Would he give in to the fear or anger? "I must learn, Sensei," Alex shouted through gritted teeth. "Sensei Kwando, I beg you." "Begging is beneath you," Sensei replied sharply. "Stand on your own 2 feet. Why should we teach you?" I am weak. I want to be able to defend myself. Ha! Sensei's laugh was sharp. Weakness is mind state, not body state. Even ant can lift many times its weight. Size mean nothing. Heart mean everything. Give me better reason. The truth burst from Alex like a dam breaking. To defend those who are weak. To defend my family. My little sister. Stop! The command froze everyone in place. Sensei Kwando approached Alex, who was still struggling to stand. The old master's face softened into an expression of approval mixed with amusement. Now that, he said, helping Alex up himself rather than letting the other students do it, is an answer worthy of training. Alex, he brushed some dirt off Alex's shoulder. But tomorrow, you still sweep. Yes, Sensei, Alex managed, trying not to wince. Good. First lesson already learned. How to say yes, Sensei, while in great pain, he chuckled. Then turned serious again. Remember this moment, Alexander-san. True strength grows like bamboo, looks weak on surface, bends in storm, but roots run deep. He gestured around the dojo. These walls have seen many students. Some seek power, some seek glory. You seek to protect. This is a good foundation. As Sensei turned to leave, he called over his shoulder. Tomorrow, 6 a.m. sharp. Bring strong back and empty mind. He paused, that playful glint returning. Also, bring broom. Ty helped Alex as the other students dispersed. Don't worry about the broom thing. Grandfather has unique teaching methods. But trust me, everything he does has purpose. Alex nodded, wondering what he'd gotten himself into. But watching Sensei Quanto disappear into his office, humming what sounded suspiciously like an old anime theme song, he couldn't help but smile. This was definitely going to be different from Boafang. The setting sun cast long shadows across the sidewalk as Ty helped Alex through the dojo's front door. Each step sent waves of aching through Alex's body, but he couldn't suppress a small smile of accomplishment. The smile quickly faded when he heard a familiar gasp. Oh my God, Alex! Allison rushed forward from where she'd been waiting, her green eyes wide with horror at the sight of his bruised face and the way he leaned on Ty for support. What did they do to you? It's not as bad as it looks, Alex tried to reassure her, but he winced as he straightened up. Not as bad. Allison's voice rose with concern. She turned to Ty, anger flashing in her eyes. This was supposed to be about learning to defend himself, not getting beaten up. We need to get him to the hospital. Allie, I'm fine, Alex started. You are not fine. Look at you. She gently touched a bruise forming on his cheek, making him flinch. This is exactly what we were trying to prevent. Ty raised his free hand in a calming gesture. Allison, I know this looks scary, but trust me, this was a test of spirit, not just body. My grandfather has special techniques for recovery. By morning, Alex will be good as new. Special techniques? Allison crossed her arms skeptically. Like what? Ancient healing methods passed down through generations, Ty explained, adjusting his grip on Alex. Plus, a really effective herbal liniment that smells terrible but works miracles. It's true, Alex added, attempting to stand straighter. I chose this, Allie, and I passed. I'm officially a student now. Some of the anger faded from Allison's expression, replaced by worry and something softer. You sure you're okay? He will be, Ty assured her. Would you like to help me get him home? I can explain more about our training methods on the way. Maybe help you understand why this was necessary. Allison hesitated, then nodded. She moved to Alex's other side, sliding under his arm to support him. Alex felt his face flush at her proximity, remembering their earlier conversation. If your dad sees you like this, she murmured. He'll understand, Alex said, though he wasn't entirely sure that was true. He knows about standing up for what you believe in. As they began the walk home, Ty started explaining the philosophy behind Kwando's teaching methods. Allison listened intently, though she never loosened her protective grip on Alex. The setting sun painted the street in shades of orange and gold, and despite his aching body, Alex felt a sense of peace. He had faced his test, found his path, and somehow ended up with both a new sensei and the girl he'd been crushing on literally supporting him. Just promise me one thing, Allison said suddenly. What's that? Next time you decide to let someone test your spirit, warn me first. My heart can't take many more surprises like this. Ty chuckled. Don't worry, the worst part's over. Now comes the real training. Real training? Alex and Allison asked simultaneously. Oh, yes, Ty's grin widened. Wait until you see what Grandfather has planned for tomorrow morning. Hope you're good with a broom, Alex. As they continued down the street, Alex couldn't help but wonder what he'd gotten himself into. But with Allison's concerned support on one side and Ty's knowing guidance on the other, he felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, even if they did involve sweeping. The sun had nearly set by the time they reached the long driveway of the Ruler family farm. Sheriff Ruler's cruiser sat idling near the entrance, its headlights off. Alex's heart sank. His father must have been waiting for them. Oh no, Allison whispered as Alhan stepped out of the vehicle, his expression unreadable in the growing darkness. Evening, kids, Alhan said quietly, approaching the trio. His eyes swept over Alex's condition, lingering on the bruises visible in the dying light. I take it you visited the dojo. Yes, sir, Alex managed, still supported between Ty and Allison. I passed the test. Something flickered across Alhan's face. Recognition, maybe even pride, before he glanced toward the farmhouse where warm light spilled from the kitchen windows. Your mother's making dinner. She's been worried sick since you didn't come straight home. Mr. Ruler, Ty stepped forward slightly. I'm Tyson Kwando. My grandfather. I know who your grandfather is, Alhan interrupted, but his tone was respectful. He trained half the police force in his younger days. Turn back to Alex. These bruises will have your mother calling every doctor in 3 counties. They'll be gone by morning, sir, Ty assured him. Grandfather's methods, also know about those. Alhan nodded. Question is, how do we get him inside without Eunice seeing him like this? The back door through the mudroom, Allison suggested. Mrs. Ruler usually stays in the kitchen when she's cooking. Amy's watching cartoons in the living room, Alhan said, thinking it through. She'd raised the alarm the second she saw him. I could create a distraction, Ty offered. Maybe ask Mrs. Ruler about her famous cooking. Grandfather mentioned her cornbread once. A smile tugged at Alhan's lips. That might work. Eunice can never resist sharing recipes. He looked at his son. Can you make it upstairs if we get you inside? Alex nodded, though every muscle protested the idea of climbing stairs. All right, here's the plan, Alhan said, slipping naturally into tactical mode. Ty, you'll go to the front door, introduce yourself, mention the cornbread. Allison, you know where Alex's room is. Yes, sir, second door on the right. Good, you'll help him up the back stairs while Eunice is distracted. I'll keep Amy occupied in the living room. He checked his watch. We got about 10 minutes before your mother starts calling around looking for you, son. They moved like a well-coordinated team. Ty headed for the front door while Alhan pulled the cruiser up to block the kitchen window's view of the mudroom entrance. As Ty's polite knock echoed through the house, Alex heard his mother's delighted greeting. Why, you must be Ty. Alex has mentioned you. Please, come in. Allison helped Alex through the mudroom door as Ty's voice carried from the kitchen. Mrs. Ruler, I hope I'm not interrupting, but I heard you make the best cornbread in Pokeville. Oh, you're too kind. Would you like the recipe? It's been in the family for generations. They made it halfway up the stairs when Amy's voice piped up from the living room. Daddy, is that? Amy! Alhan called quickly. Come help Daddy with this very important police report. But I thought I saw it's about unicorns, criminal unicorns, very classified. Amy's excited squeal of criminal unicorns covered the sound of Alex's door closing behind him and Allison. Safe in his room, Alex collapsed onto his bed with a groan of relief. Allison shook her head, but she was smiling. Criminal unicorns, she whispered. Dad always did think well under pressure, Alex murmured from his pillow. From downstairs, they could hear Eunice enthusiastically explaining the importance of proper cornmeal selection to an attentive Ty, while Amy's voice carried on about what crimes unicorns might commit. I should go, Amy said softly. Will you be okay? Allison said softly, will you be okay? Yeah, Alex managed to smile despite his aching face. Thanks, Allie, for everything. She hesitated and quickly kissed his forehead. Get some rest, cried the kid. I'll see you tomorrow. As she slipped out, Alex heard his father's voice from downstairs. And that's why unicorn crime is a federal offense, sweetheart. Now, who wants ice cream? Alex smiled as he drifted off to sleep. Somehow, despite the bruises, the aches, despite the challenges ahead, he knew he'd made the right choice. He was exactly where he needed to be. All right, guys. Do we have any questions about Chapter 7 before we move on? Chapter 7 was kind of long. That's the reason I'm doing the question and answer for that chapter before we move on now. A lot of things happened in Chapter 7. So if anybody has any questions about Chapter 7, put them in the comments. I'll give about 15 minutes to that, and then we'll go on to Chapter 8. I promised you guys 2 chapters an episode, so while we're waiting on that, I will like to formally announce that Tygapagon, Taming the Dragon, and Calming the Ape are now officially at the editors, so when I finish reading this live reading, I can go straight into those books. Again, I apologize for my allergies. They've been killing me all weekend. I don't know what's going on, but I've got medicine, so hopefully it helps. Scott, if you're just now joining us, I'm sorry you've missed chapter 7's read. We're getting ready to go into chapter 8. I'm giving about 15 minutes for people to ask questions about chapter 7. If you want to rewatch and ask me questions later, that's perfectly fine. If you send me enough questions, I'll do a whole episode about it, just so you know. Amber says, I've got a question. I know Amy is based on your actual sister, but was your real sister ever actually obsessed with unicorns like Amy is? The answer to that is no. My actual sister was obsessed with porcelain clowns, and that just wasn't right for a 5-year-old. So I stuck with unicorns. And if you'll pay attention, as this Tagapagon prequel series continues, Amy's going to get more and more spotlight. She just doesn't have a whole big role in Hometown Justice. So that was one question about Chapter 7. Anybody else have a question about Chapter 7? Well, have you met my sister? She's terrifying. It kind of goes hand in hand. Yes, BJ, I said that about you. Sue me. I have a question for the readers, though. The readers that have read the first Hometown Justice book, because there was a whole group of I Hate Allison fan club out there, and I want to know, after reading the Tygapagon prequel, 7 chapters deep, are you still on board that hate train? And for those of you that don't know, check out Hometown Justice Homecoming, book 1 in the original series. That will give you all the details you need to know. We'll eventually get there. I've got 2 more books to get through before we get to that. But when we get there, we'll get there. Why did Sensei put Alex through that test, and why did it come off as gang assault? Good question. I wanted to differentiate Jang Kwang Do from Miyagi Do. They're how's the best way to put it? In the new Karate Kid Legends movie, Jackie Chan says it best: 2 branches of one tree. Um, Miyagi Do is the foundation of Jang Kwang Do, and I wanted to show the readers that this wasn't just a Karate Kid reboot, rewrite, whatever you want to call it. I put my own spin on things, and Sensei put Alex through that test to test his spirit, to ensure he wasn't there for the wrong reasons. And it came off as gang assault because that's how I wanted it to be presented. I wanted people to hate Yoshimoto before they got to know Yoshimoto. Miss Baloo, how you doing? Sadly, as I just said to Scott, you missed me reading chapter 7. I'm getting ready to dive into chapter 8. We are asking questions pertaining to chapter 7, and then I ask a question to the fans about, do they still hate Allison just as bad after reading what little bit we've read of Tygapagon? And this is one of the members, the founding members of the I Hate Allison Club. Amber says she still hates her. She just don't hate child Allison because she hasn't done anything wrong for me to hate just yet. Well, I can tell you she's not going to do anything to make you hate her in the prequel. Okay, Miss Baloo, if you don't have any questions about this chapter, which I'm guessing you don't because you just joined us, but if you don't have any questions about this chapter, we're going to dive right into chapter 8. I will apologize one more time for my allergies. Chapter 8. Alex's eyes snapped open at exactly 5:47 a.m. For a moment, he lay still, expecting the wave of pain from yesterday's bruises to hit him. Instead, he felt electric. Every cell in his body seemed to hum with energy, like he'd mainlined a case of energy drinks while he slept. Jumping out of bed, he rushed to his mirror. The bruises that had covered his face were completely gone. Not even a trace of yellowing remained. He pressed his fingers against his ribs where the worst hits had landed. Nothing. No pain, no tenderness, just pure vibrating energy threatening to burst out of him. What did Sensei do to me? He whispered, flexing his hands. They felt stronger somehow, more alive. The smell of pancakes wafted from up from the downstairs. His stomach growled in response. Alex threw on his clothes and practically flew downstairs, taking them 3 at a time. Good morning, sweetheart, Eunice called from the kitchen. Your father already left for his patrol, but I made your favorite, chocolate chip pancakes with... Thanks, Mom. Alex was already piling pancakes onto his plate, drowning them in syrup. Amy sat at the table, still in her unicorn pajamas, watching him with wide eyes as he devoured his breakfast at superhuman speed. Wow, you're eating faster than Daddy. What time is it? Alex asked between mouthfuls. Amy glanced at the Mickey Mouse clock on the wall. The big hand is on 11 and the little hand is on 5:55. Alex jumped up, nearly knocking over his chair. I gotta go. Thanks for breakfast, Mom. But Alex, you haven't. Eunice's voice faded as Alex burst through the front door, his feet barely touching the steps. The morning air was cool and crisp, but Alex barely noticed it. His legs moved with a strength and speed he'd never felt before. The 2-mile distance to Kwando's School of Martial Arts had always seemed so far away, but now the ground flew beneath his feet. He didn't even feel winded. Houses and shop blurred past him. Old Mrs. Henderson, out walking her poodle, did a double take as Alex zoomed by. He caught a glimpse of Douglas's father's car at a stop sign and found himself grinning. Let them try to bully him now. The eagle sign came into view just as the sun began to peek over the horizon. Alex skidded to a stop in front of the dojo, checking his phone. 5:58. He just ran 2 miles in 3 minutes. Impossible, he muttered, but the evidence was right there. Not only had he made it on time, he felt like he could run another 10 miles without breaking a sweat. The dojo's door slid open, revealing Sensei Kwando's silhouette. Ah, Alexander-tan. Right on time. He held out a broom. Ready to begin? Alex took the broom, still buzzing with energy. Sensei? What did you do to me? I feel different. Different? Sensei's eyes twinkled with amusement. No, not different. Same Alexander-san, just more awake. He gestured to the training floor. Now show me how to sweep. Alex stepped into the dojo. He could have sworn he heard Sensei chuckle and mutter something that sounded suspiciously like wait until he discovers what else he could do. The first week of Kwando's School of Martial Arts tested Alex in ways he'd never expected. Each morning began the same way, before sunrise with a broom in his hands. Sweep side to side like gentle wave, Sensei Kwando instructed. Feel rhythm, find balance. He watched Alex's movements carefully. No, you sweep like angry bull. Be like water, flowing. Day after day, the task grew more specific, waxing the training mats in perfect circles, painting the fences behind the dojo with precise, measured strokes, polishing the mirrors until they gleamed. I don't understand, Alex said one morning, his arms aching from scrubbing the wooden floor. When do we start real training? Sensei's eyes twinkled. Show me how you scrub. Alex demonstrated and Sensei nodded thoughtfully. Now show me basic block we practiced yesterday. As Alex moved into defensive stance, his eyes widened. The motion was exactly the same as his scrubbing technique. Ah, Sensei smiled. Now you begin to understand. On the second week, Sensei presented Alex with a brand new gi. The fabric felt oddly heavy in his hands. Special training uniform, Sensei explained. Weighted will make normal clothes feel like feather. He helped Alex into the gi, adjusting the weights carefully. Wear always, except for sleep, even at school. At school, Alex struggled to lift his arms, but how will I? Exactly. Sensei nodded. Every movement becomes training. Every step builds strength. The weighted clothing transformed every daily activity into a workout. Simply walking to class became an exercise in endurance. Climbing stairs felt like scaling mountains, but gradually, day by day, the weight became easier to bear. By the third week, Alex had developed a grace to his movements despite the weighted gi. That's when the sparring began. Tai-san, Sensei called one afternoon. Show Alexander-san proper sparring form. The matches with Tai were unlike anything Alex had experienced at Boafang. Where Douglas had been all aggression and power, Tai moved like flowing water, turning Alex's own momentum against him. Each session ended with Alex on the mat, but he learned something new every time. Again, Sensei would say, watching their movements. Focus not on winning, but on understanding. Every defeat is lesson. Some days Sensei would have them spar blindfolded, teaching them to sense their opponent's movements. Other days they balanced on narrow wooden posts while exchanging strikes, learning to maintain center even in awkward positions. Your body is tool, Sensei explained as Alex picked himself up after another fall, but mind is weapon. Must train both. Ugh. Again, I apologize, guys, for my allergies. The morning task continued, but now Alex saw them differently. Sweeping wasn't just sweeping, it was learning proper hip rotation for kicks. Polishing mirrors taught him to read and anticipate movements. Even carrying water buckets up the dojo steps built stability he needed for complex stances. One morning, about a month into his training, Alex arrived to find Sensei sitting cross-legged in the center of the dojo, eyes closed. Today, Sensei said without opening his eyes, we begin real training. Real training? Alex looked around at the broom he'd used that morning, the weighted gi he wore, the sparring mat where Tai had thrown him countless times. What was all of this, then? Sensei opened his eyes, smiling. Foundation. Now we build house. Alex squared his shoulders, ready for whatever came next. The weight of his gi no longer felt like a burden, it felt like armor, and his hands, once soft from playing video games, now held the calluses of true training. Hi, Sensei, he said, bowing deeply. Good. Sensei nodded approvingly. Now show me how to sweep. Sheriff Alhan Ruler sat behind his desk, reviewing the incident report from the Ruler farm when a hesitant knock interrupted his concentration. Come in, he called, expecting one of his deputies. Instead, 13-year-old Marcus Bagwell stepped into his office, his two large second-hand clothes hanging loose on his thin frame. Dark circles under his eyes suggested another rough night at home. Alhan had lost count of how many times he'd had to drive Henry Bagwell home from O'Malley's bar this month alone. Marcus? Alhan's voice softened. Everything okay, son? Yes, sir, Sheriff. Marcus shifted, uncomfortably glancing at the papers on the desk. I heard about what happened at your farm with Douglas Kennedy and his friends. Alhan set down his pen, giving the boy his full attention. Marcus didn't make social calls to the sheriff's office. There was usually a reason. What about it? I saw them planning it, Marcus blurted, then quickly looked down at his shoes. At school the day before, Douglas was bragging about how he was going to get back at Alex for embarrassing him at the dojo. Are you sure about this? Marcus nodded. I was hiding in the library. It's quiet there, you know. When Dad's had a rough night, he trailed off. Alhan understood. The library was safer than home some days. Did Jarvis Hamrick mention any other names? He didn't have to. I saw them there. David Brown, Tommy Phillips, and Craig. One moment, guys. Phone call coming in, so give me just a moment. Sorry about that. I had a phone call coming in, and it was a friend of mine not knowing that I'm in the middle of a show. So let me dive back in. He didn't have to. I saw them all there. David Brown, Tommy Phillips, and Craig Stewart. They were wearing their Boafang uniforms. Marcus finally looked up, meeting Alhan's eyes. I should have said something sooner, but Douglas Kennedy's father has a lot of influence on this town. Alhan finished. He'd seen how Richard Kennedy treated Henry Bagwell at town meetings, making snide comments about local color. Yes, sir. Marcus's shoulder slumped. My dad, he owes Mr. Kennedy money from poker games at O'Malley's. Alhan leaned forward. Marcus, you did the right thing coming here. This information helps us build a case against Douglas's vandalism. Really? Really? Mark Alhan studied the boy for a moment. Have you eaten lunch today? A slight hesitation and a shake of the head. Sarah, Alhan called to his secretary. Could you run over to the diner and get us two specials? He turned back to Marcus. Might as well give your statement properly, and no one thinks straight on an empty stomach. For the first time, a smile crossed Marcus's face. Thank you, Sheriff. As they finished their lunch, Alhan watched Marcus push the last fries around his plate, clearly reluctant to leave. Marcus, Alhan said carefully, I want you to know something. You've got a spare bedroom at the farmhouse. We've got a spare bedroom at the farm. Eunice always cooks enough to feed an army, and Amy's been begging for more company at dinner. Marcus froze, his fork halfway to his mouth. Sir? What I'm saying is, on nights when home feels too loud or too quiet or just too much, you've got a place to go. Alhan's voice was gentle but firm. No questions asked. Just show up, get a good meal, and get some rest. I couldn't, Marcus stated, but Alhan held up a hand. You can and you will. Consider it payment for helping with the Kennedy case. He smiled. Besides, Alex could use someone around who understands what it's like to face Douglas's brand of trouble. Marcus swallowed hard, and for a moment, Alhan could see the weight of too many responsibilities lifting from the boy's shoulder. Thank you, Sheriff. He managed, his voice barely above a whisper. Just promise me one thing. Yes, sir. Think about joining Quandos. Sometimes the right door opens exactly when you need it to. As Marcus left the office, walking a little taller than when he'd entered, Alhan made two mental notes. Talk to Eunice about setting an extra plate at dinner, and talk to Alex about befriending Marcus. And that's the end of Chapter 8. All right, time for questions for Chapter 8. I know my wife hasn't been paying particular attention because I don't have questions from her. She's been sending me Facebook messages asking about stuff going on elsewhere. Miss Baloo, you're not a fan of Allison? I didn't expect you to be either. So apparently, when I hollered Tyson in Sensei Kwando's voice, my son looked at TV like he was answering me. That's nice. For those of you that don't know, my youngest son Ty, he's 7 months old. His name is Tyson Oliver. He's named after Taekwondo from my books, and Oliver Queen, Tommy Oliver from Green Arrow and Power Rangers, respectively. And that's where we got his name from. I call him Ty. I call him Tai Tai. I call him Ollie. He loves listening to me read my books, so I think we're actually further ahead than you guys are when I read to him. I didn't expect you to be Miss Blue, especially after what she done. A lot of people hated the flashback in Hometown Justice Homecoming. I know my wife did. She made me sleep on the couch for like 2 weeks straight because of that. Anyways, well, ask your questions now. Stop messaging me on Facebook. Comment on the posts. Also, Miss Blue, I want to say I'm sorry I missed the TCW show. We had a lot of stuff happen over the weekend. We could not be there. As soon as you get information about the next show, let me know, and I'll try to make arrangements to be there. Amber says the flashback infuriated me. Enough that she put me on the couch for 2 weeks straight, guys. Luckily, she didn't read it as I was writing it, so I just had to deal with it after the book released. Thank you, Miss Palou. I actually have a friend that's interested in going to a show, and I couldn't give him the dates for next month's show. So as soon as you let me know, I'm gonna let him know. Temper, temper. You haven't asked a question yet. Miss Baloo, thank you very much. And as soon as I get the restream paid up for a month, I'll be putting your posters back on the screen. I can't do it with the free version, which isn't bad, but it does hinder me advertising for my people that advertise for me. I also want to give a shout out to my boy Chuck Winchester, or as you guys may know him, Ivan M. Righteous, aka El Luchador, the wrestler. He's making something for the Carolina Nexus for me to hang on the wall at my new place when I start recording. As soon as I have that in my hand, I will show it to you guys. From what I've seen of it so far, it's beautiful. Um, and I will advertise for him as soon as I get the product to have it here for you guys to see. He's making the Carolina Nexus logo, burning it into wood, and he's amazing. Yes, this is a good question. As I'm reading this, I'm realizing the editor took out a whole chapter. And there was a chapter where Alex and Marcus meet at school. And Alex has snuck him into the Ruler family house several times. So there's a whole chapter missing. I've got to go back and look see if I can find it because it adds so much more to Marcus's story. And for those of you that are wondering, this Marcus Bagwell is the same Marcus Bagwell from Hometown Justice, Homecoming, Rebellion, and Aftermath. Okay. Amber says, I have asked questions. I asked two earlier. How do I have another one? However, I do have another one. Is Allison actually for Alex joining karate or is she against it? In the context, she secretly wants him to do it, but she has mixed emotions about it. She worries about him physically and mentally, And after seeing what happened in chapter 7, she's kind of against it right now. But she's going to be observing his growth through the rest of this book and through the rest of this prequel series. She's going to be glad that he made that choice. How does Marcus end up so bad? He wasn't that bad in the prequel books. Well, when you spend your entire life being told you're nothing but trash, like he has, I just read that the the community looks down upon his dad for being the town drunk. His dad beats him. They show sympathy, but they don't do anything to stop it except for the rulers. So when you got that going on, and somebody comes and offers you a ticket out of that, you take it. When Tommy Leons comes to Pokeful, he offers Marcus a better life and more money, and Marcus takes it, but then begins thinking he's better than everybody else. My wife, the bleeding heart. She says that answer is so depressing. Hashtag justice for Marcus. There goes another club she's going to be founding now. Justice for Marcus Club. In fact, Amber, speaking of that, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. If I'm not mistaken, in Hometown Justice Rebellion, there's a chapter that flashes back to when Tommy met Marcus. Miss Amber, Miss Palou wants membership to the Justice for Marcus Club. Man, y'all really gonna hate what happens to Marcus in the future. Amber says, "Don't tempt me. I'll actually do it." I mean, she did start the I Hate Allison Jurgens Club too on Facebook, so give her time. Exactly, and for the record, Marcus is not based off anyone in particular from my life. The foundation of the character comes from different characters in my life. I took bits and pieces of different people's backstories, so he's kind of mixed together. And the name Bagwell comes from me being a wrestling fan. I needed a last name that resonated with people, was easy to remember, and I was scrolling Facebook the night I made the character, and Buff Bagwell came across my screen, and there was the last name. So if it wasn't for Buff Bagwell, Marcus Bagwell would not have a last name. Now, his brother Brutus, he does have an older brother, Brutus. You don't see Brutus in the prequel. Very often he's mentioned in the third book. But Brutus spends a lot of time in and out of jail. To more accurately describe the relationship between Brutus and Marcus is the Dixon brothers from The Walking Dead. Brutus is Merle and Marcus is Daryl, in a sense. But Marcus becomes his own person a lot faster in a different way than Brutus does, and then from Daryl. So seeing those characters side by side, that's sort of the plot point I wanted to go with, where Daryl's story in The Walking Dead was he had this horrible home life. He became a great person. When Marcus had this horrible home life, he became an even more horrible person. Not Brutus, Marcus. The name Brutus comes from a Popeye the Sailor Man cartoon. For those of you that don't know, Brutus was the original name for Bluto in Popeye the Sailor Man. The continuity's a little bit fishy there because some comics and cartoons say that Brutus is Bluto's father. Some comics and storylines say they're the same person. That Bluto's just a nickname. I just went with the name because it sounded imposing and intimidating. It sounded redneck enough to work. That's a good comparison there. They're Daryl and Merle if Daryl had went bad. And you'll see more of that in Hometown Justice when we get there. Right now, you're seeing the good of Marcus. In the sequel, Hometown Justice, you'll see the bad of Marcus. You're welcome. Well, guys, that's been your 2 chapters for the night. If there's no more questions, we're going to end this episode here. I'll see you guys tomorrow night for the character discussion. Let me bring up that so we can decide who we're talking about. Okay. Listen, do not correct my linguistics, my lingo. I do that. Let's do this for the character discussion for tomorrow night so you guys can get ready for your questions. All right, people. Are we ready? Spin and win. We'll be talking about which is Casey Elkins' sister. Come on, take her out. It's being slow, guys. And then the second name we'll be talking about tomorrow night. Everyone's favorite shit talking computer, Kivo. I can't wait to do this episode with you guys tomorrow night, 7 p.m. I'll be live. So, just for clarification's sake, we will be talking about Cindy Ramsey and Kivo. Let me add this to the screen so you guys can see. Now, I know my wife's going to have a bunch of questions about Kivo, so we're saving him for the end of the episode, because if I talk about Kivo first, we're not going to get to talk about Cindy. Told you. So tomorrow night's episode might not be an hour-long episode. But check it out. You guys have a good night. Happy Memorial Day. Also, don't forget, May 31st is the final day to enter the Hometown Justice Hostile book cover contest. Means you have until Sunday to send me your entry. I have 10 entries already, so you guys send me entries. We'll take care of it. Until next time, when the theme song ends and we dive in, you guys have a good night.